Welcome back to Quarter Life Clarity. I'm your host, Brian Valeriano. And today we're talking about three different things that have nothing to do with each other. I don't think. If you want to find the common thread, you certainly can. But I didn't have a topic that I really wanted to talk about. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just talk about three things that are on my mind today. Before we begin, shout out Seahawks. Actually, not even shout out Seahawks. Shout out Sam Darnold for winning a Super Bowl because as a Jets fan, that is the closest I've been to the Super Bowl in my entire life, I think. I mean, the Jets were in the AFC Championship in 2009 and 10. But, it's always nice to see the Patriots lose. But, anyways, I want to start with a story. I do have notes here that I'm referencing, but a story, it's called the Starfish story. You may have heard of it before, but it goes like this. One day, there's a man walking on a beach, and he noticed a boy picking up starfish and throwing them back into the ocean. The man walks over to him and goes, "Hey, man, excuse me, what are you doing?" The boy replied, "I'm throwing starfish back into the ocean. The sun's rising and the tide's going out, and if I don't throw them back in the ocean, they're going to die." The man kind of laughed to himself and said, "But there's too much starfish on the beach, too many starfish on the beach. Like, you can't possibly make a difference." And boy kind of sat there for a minute, listened, and just bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it back in the ocean. And turned to the guy and goes, "Made a difference to that one." And I share that story. I heard it a few weeks ago, and it's really stuck with me because from a personal standpoint, when you're ambitious and you really want to help a lot of people, especially when you're kind of online and doing this podcast thing and sharing things on social media, it's very, very easy to get wrapped up in trying to help X number of people. Like if 1,000 people don't see this thing I put up on social media, then failure. And that's a very crippling way to do business. And I think it leads to a lot of like futility, which is basically pointlessness. I'm useless. I think we can see that a lot in our work sometimes, especially where, you're just kind of feeling like you're not making a difference, where you start to question, does the work that I'm doing, does what I do matter? And this story, I think, cuts right through that because one of the biggest realizations that I've had in all of this over the past few months is that if I can make an impact on one person, that is success. I don't care if I look like an idiot. Making an impact on that one person, if I positively impact one person via something I put out or just me being, it doesn't have to be online, but just by me doing something. It can be a smile. It can be opening the door. It can be just sparking up a conversation with a stranger. It can be clearing the dinner table. Like, it can be something so small. And obviously those things, the small things lead to the big things. But I say this story and I share that because I think sometimes we can forget about the local side of things. We can see on social media that all this reach is happening and there's hundreds of thousands and millions of views on certain things that we compare ourselves to that and we think, "Oh, I might not be making a difference." Or even online stuff aside, in your work, you can just feel that. I know I've felt that. And I think the longer that you feel that, maybe you should think about what you're doing. Because it could also be a sign. But I think the point here is don't forget about the one. Don't forget about the one person you can impact today. No matter what you do in your job, in your work, in your life, that is a very attainable goal. And shit, put it on a t-shirt. Like, save a starfish today or whatever you need to tell yourself, where it's just like just one starfish today that makes me feel good. And that's how you change the world. Everybody wants to change the world. Nobody wants to do the dishes. That's one of my favorite quotes is like, all of this does start with ourselves, but then beyond that, it's the one person that is maybe in your circle right now, in your community that you can make a difference in. So I love that story. And I want to just move on because I do want to make these episodes shorter. I'm going for 20 minutes today, 5 minutes in. Let's do it. So seasonal effectiveness disorder. I don't know what I'm going to call this episode, but I want to talk about sunlight because I've been talking about or just posting about it on my social media, how every day now, after I go to the gym in the morning, when I go to the gym, it's like 6:30. The sun's, I don't know, it's kind of getting there, but it's not quite out yet. And so after my workout, call it, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock, I will walk in the parking lot like a maniac for like 5 minutes to get morning sunlight. And specifically, I found walking towards the sun has like instantly changes my mood. It's crazy. I've been doing these morning walks for a while now. I mean, I feel like at this point, if you're just on planet Earth, that you understand that sunlight is good, and especially morning sunlight is good. And so I've been doing that for a couple of years now, but I don't always directly walk like towards it. And since making that shift where I'm pursuing walking towards the sun, it actually has, at least for me, I don't know if there's science necessarily behind this, but walking directly towards the sun, not staring at it, because I did some research on that today. It's not good. Don't stare at the sun. You also don't have pain receptors in your eyes or something like that. So you can just burn your retinas and not even know that it's happening. So walk towards the sun, but don't stare at the sun. Very important. But I say this because this is February. I'm in Connecticut. It's freaking like, it's so freaking cold out. It's like 10 degrees like every day now. It's ridiculous. But the root problem of this whole seasonal effectiveness disorder is actually its decreased dopamine opportunity. So take the summer, for example. You're probably doing stuff all the time. You're seeing friends. You're outside. And you're connected with other people. There's so much more opportunity for dopamine. But in the winter, we are... an issue is isolation. We stay inside for one. We don't see the sun. We're not outside getting fresh air and sunlight often. We do isolate. We're probably not seeing our friends as much. We might not be able to do a lot of our hobbies as much as we used to. And so just to share a little bit on dopamine, because I was kind of learning this as I was preparing. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter and hormone crucial for the brain's reward system, acting as a chemical messenger that drives motivation, pleasure, movement, memory, and focus. Motivation, pleasure, movement, memory, and focus. It's a lot of good stuff. It reinforces beneficial behaviors by signaling, this is great, when you experience something enjoyable, prompting you to seek that reward again. And so I say that because sometimes I know I can fall into the trap of like, oh, you're sad, you're seasonal effectiveness disorder, you're just the winter blues, whatever you want to call it. And I think the sunlight is good. And I would say, I put this on my story today, if your excuse is just that it's cold out, freaking put more clothes on, man. Like there's one person on this planet that I know that can't do this. She's a friend of mine. Shout out Sam. She is allergic to the cold. Yes, that's real. I didn't believe it either, but she gets hives when she goes out in the cold. So she gets an exception here. But everybody else, I just think about it. Like you're losing out on this very beneficial thing because the temperature. Because you're just not willing to put a hat on and just bundle up. And I say that because the rewards for me have been great when I do actually get outside, and literally it's just 5 minutes and walk towards the sun. But beyond just the sunlight thing, I have found, and I don't really deal with seasonal effectiveness disorder. I kind of sometimes I just feel like I'm sad the whole year. That's such a depressing tone. No, I generally don't deal with this, but I definitely deal with sadness at times. But I've found, at least for the past few weeks, like I have not felt this at all. Like the whole month of January, I did not feel the seasonal depression. And I think it's because I've been moving forward. I've been setting and accomplishing small goals. And I say that because setting and accomplishing goals triggers dopamine. And so there's other things beyond just getting sunlight that can help you not be depressed right now in the winter. So my advice would be set small goals, daily goals, weekly goals. I set weekly goals every week, and then I time block when I'm going to do them throughout the week. However you do your goal system, make them like small and achievable, because that will instantly give you a dopamine hit and make you happy. This is great, prompting you to seek that reward again. Also, like, hang out with people. Intentionally getting back in a rhythm of hanging out with people and almost like forcing it. Like, just, I don't know. Like, it doesn't have to be that complicated. But also with that, from a supplementation standpoint, I take vitamin D3 with K2. And that obviously from a sun standpoint helps. So a few things just on that note, because again, I've really, really found a difference. Literally just standing and staring at the sun. Again, sorry, not staring at the sun. Looking in the direction of the sun. If you do that, I don't know if it's just me, but I just instantly feel better. And it doesn't also have to be in the morning. It can be at any point in the day. Just if you're tired, if you're struggling, if you're going through a challenge, go outside and look in the direction of the sun. I'm telling you, I don't know, you can tell me I'm crazy and you can comment on this video if you disagree, but it's been really nice for me. All right, 12 minutes. So now everybody's favorite topic, which I'm kind of nervous to talk about. But I'm going to hopefully take maybe an alternative approach to what you've already seen out there. I don't know. I want to start by saying I didn't know. I live under a rock. I didn't know that there was an alternative. I didn't know Turning Point was having a alternative halftime show until Saturday night. I did not see it on the internet. I heard it from one of my buddies. So again, like I do not spend nearly, I wouldn't even say nearly enough, but I don't spend much time on the internet. My feed these days is very like spiritual and personal growth, and not like, I think that's a good thing, by the way. I'm kind of pumped about it, to kind of not know what's going on. But anyways, I want to just take a few minutes I want to judge what I saw, because at this point I've seen both halftime shows. And I want to, again, critical before I even jump in. I'm judging what I saw. I'm judging each show, okay? I don't necessarily really want to talk about everything before that. I'm sure it'll kind of come up, but and I don't know, I hate, this isn't political, but everything's fucking politics these days, and I hate it. But anyways, what I saw, again, just looking at both shows, I saw two shows trying to accomplish the same thing, just in different ways. Like, it's like trying to accomplish the same thing, but disagreed on how to accomplish that. And I saw that most in, right, the Bad Bunny show. I saw that, right, he ended it with the only thing more powerful than hate is love. Great. And then I'm just highlighting like moments here, but these two moments I think more or less summarize the whole thing, at least to me. That part, and then the Kid Rock sharing a little bit of the gospel, which I do want to, I'm just going to pull it up in case people haven't heard it. And that's not it. That's an ad. Bear with me. Not editing this thing at all. Here we go.
There's a book that's sitting in your house somewhere that could use some dusting off. There's a man
a little corny. I'm not gonna lie. Like a little cheesy, but the words, right? Judging what I saw, okay? I don't know. I can't determine a person's heart or anything that goes on behind the scenes. Judging just that, like that, I love that. Like I am a Christian. I love that. Any opportunity to share the gospel and share the love of Jesus, like I'm in. All right. And I think, right, God is love. And that's what, the whole Bad Bunny saying or phrase that they threw up there. Like we're each talking about love. All right. And I just want to run through a few things and I will kind of nail this home with a point after this. But I did want to share a few things from both shows that I liked and I did not like. Okay. Trying to toe the line here. Um, so with the Turning Point show, I did not like all of yesterday. Since I kind of heard about it and everybody was all getting fired up about it, the whole idea of the show did not sit well with me because of the division that it caused among us, like everyone. It was obviously a huge deal. Everybody's talking about it. But, I always look at things from the perspective of like, yeah, like what would Jesus do? Which is so like Sunday school Christian thing to say, but it's a really good filter to look at things. And I was just thinking like, I don't know what Jesus would think of this because this is causing more division for us as a country. We're picking sides again. Hey, which show are we watching? Right? Like that anytime right now I feel like that there's two options available, that's just making it worse. And so the whole idea of the show, I was just wrestling with like, is this bringing us closer together? No. So is it good? And I know that wasn't, there's other purposes for the Turning Point show itself. But that was something that stuck out. Kid Rock himself being the headliner of it, I don't know. Like it was a little odd, I guess. I don't really give a shit though. Like, but with that, I did just want to say that I know he got a lot of shit for the lyric about like liking little kids or something pedophile like, which is obviously not okay. Not saying that it is. However, of what I've seen, so that was in 2001, I'm pretty sure that song came out. That's 25 years ago. And what I've seen since then is this guy who has come to know Jesus and is a Christian now at this point. And so I just wanted to take a second to point out, especially to other Christians who may have condemned him for that song lyric before he even knew Jesus, before he became a Christian. Because I think that's a trap us Christians can fall into, is judging someone else for something that they did, especially before they knew God. And I think that's us forgetting what Jesus did for us and the forgiveness that he shares with us every single day, and also the sins that we had before we knew Jesus. And they're also like, all of them are bad. One's not worse than the other also. So I think that's important. But with all that being said, we're on the did not like part of this. Like, I didn't love the whole Kid Rock thing. Like, he's a little older. I also didn't love that it was all white people. Like, again, the division side of it, kind of tough when you have, and I know that's the whole, like, Turning Point, MAGA, yes. But I just didn't love seeing this all white show with all MAGA people. Yeah, it's again, division rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. What I liked about the Turning Point show is, like I said, Kid Rock sharing the gospel, sharing Jesus. I thought that was cool. And I did just like the music itself. Like, I'm a country music fan. So everybody that performed, like, I enjoyed their music for the most part. And just like the music. Remember, we can still look at this as a halftime show where like we it's not that deep, where this is just the music and I enjoy the music. And then for the Bad Bunny show, things I did not like. It was, I mean, this is like every Super Bowl show, and it's a little nitpicky, but the sex positive side of things, like it wasn't. I didn't think it was over the top, but the way I thought about it is like if I did have kids, I don't know if I would really want them to see a bunch of women twerking on the TV. Like I mean that's a situation I haven't been dealt with yet. I don't have kids, but I would probably not want that. And I think that was one of the things at Turning Point. Like that's what they said at least was like, wanted to avoid that, like a family friendly show. I don't speak any Spanish. I don't understand Spanish at all. So the whole thing, I'm not like condemning that. Like I'm cool with it, but I didn't understand any of it. So therefore, if I don't understand it, it's hard to connect with it and like fully enjoy it. I did, however, moving on to things that I liked, I was kind of vibing with the music. I'm not a Bad Bunny guy, never listened to his music, but there were a couple songs where I was like, I'm in, bro. Um, Also with things that I liked, obviously it seemed like a really good shout out to Puerto Rico, which was obviously like a huge point. And I don't know like a ton about the culture of Puerto Rico. I have Puerto Rican friends and they were all fired up about this. So I was like, I was pumped for them, dude. Like we should celebrate your culture. And yeah, let's not forget that Puerto Rico is part of the United States. So yes. And then obviously what he's, the ending, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. So where all of this I think became a problem is almost between like, again, the shows themselves, I was like, I was okay with. Everything else was like all the division it caused between like people outside of that, outside of the shows themselves. That's where it really got like crazy. And I also wanted to shout out, like, what was Lady Gaga doing with her arms? I don't know if anybody else caught that. Again, not on the internet enough, but it reminded me of Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby's just like, I don't know what to do with my hands. She's just all over the place. Anyways, let me know if you caught that because I kind of looked on the internet and it seemed like I was the only one. Sad. So, anyways, the problem I see with all of this, to get to the point, you don't even give a shit like what I think about the shows. The problem that I see with all of this is I think we label each other based on one decision. And an example of that I felt recently is I reposted something on my Instagram. It was a video of Charlie Kirk at one of his events talking to a transgender person. And I felt really weird about putting that on my story. Backtrack for a second. I am a Charlie Kirk fan, I guess. I did not know him before he got shot. Not everything, 98% of what I've seen him say in the videos that I've watched, like I would say I support him. Again, 98%. I also have not seen every single thing that guy has ever said, okay? So there's things that I just don't know about him, okay? But I posted it because it was a little longer of a video. It was about 3 minutes. But I loved it because he was being loving in that conversation. He wasn't condemning, he wasn't anything other than having a human to human conversation with this person who's in front of him that has a soul and is asking questions to him. And why, to bring it back to the whole labeling thing, why I felt weird about reposting that is because I don't know, I don't have any proof of this, but I think some people probably saw me post that. They saw Charlie Kirk and they saw transgender. And they probably made the connection of, or started, or because of that, believe that Brian is like anti transgender and super conservatist and all of this stuff, immediately jumping to the deep end. And I think that's what we do with each other. And I'm not trying to point out either side. I think both sides do it, which is, I fucking hate that sentence, like sides. That's the whole issue here. But I think we immediately label someone as good or bad because of one decision that they made. Whichever Super Bowl halftime show you watched last night, good or bad because of that decision. That's it. And I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem because there's no context. There's no dialogue. Let's have a conversation. One of my favorite sayings in Matthew McConaughey's Greenlights book is seek to understand, not be right. Like, seek to understand each other. I think that's the issue that we see is we're not understanding each other. We're putting a label on our friends, our family, people on the internet because of one single thing that we post, that we like, that we say, that we believe, and just immediately diving to the deep end of they must be on that side because of that. And it's causing so much separation, even like within our own circles, I think. And I want to pull up this. I'm going to share one more video and then I'm going to stop talking because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. But this video, I literally came across this an hour ago. Perfect timing, because I think it explains what I'm talking about very, very well. And I think relates the whole issue that we're seeing in our country to this like super simple metaphor. And you don't really need to see it. I think you're going to understand the context, but this is in a classroom and a teacher has two students up in front. And yeah, I'm just going to play it.
Hey boys, turn around. John, what color is the ball?
Ball's white. Seriously? Bro, do you just like making things difficult?
Well, what color do you say the ball is?
Black. The ball is black, clearly. I don't know if you see it, Robert, but the ball is white.
Without looking at the ball, I want you to both switch places. Can both of you please turn around? And what color is the ball now? Okay, please have a seat.
Throughout our lives, we believe many things, and we hold dear what we think is right and true. But at times there'll be others who disagree with us. What we believe to be 100% right, they believe the opposite just as strongly. Well, how can that? Can't they see? We can become frustrated, we might grow distant. We may even sever relationships entirely. Slow down. Breathe. Step into the other person's shoes. It'll make all the difference.
Yeah, so one half of the ball was white and one half of the ball was black. And I just realized we're at 30 minutes and I've failed again to get this episode to like 20 minutes. I want to leave it at that. There were a couple Bible verses that I think are important to share here because with all of this division, I would say and believe that there is a devil in all of this, that like I would say we're at spiritual warfare always, like for our souls. Good versus evil is always happening in the world. If you can understand that, I think, I would say good comes from God and evil comes from the devil. And we're always trying to be manipulated by the devil to do that evil. And I think a lot of the division and what we're seeing, I see the devil at work, even among Christians too. And so just a couple Bible verses. Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand. The thief, aka the devil, comes only to steal and kill and destroy. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. So, with this episode, again, the Starfish story, and maybe that's a solution for the division and, this whole halftime show thing, is talk to one person. Like, have a dialogue. Think about their perspective, like the video. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. Why would they even say that? Why would they think that? And remove the emotion as best we can before pointing the finger. I think we just need to do a better job of that. Morning sunlight, just in general, and the sad tips. Man, very burpy. And then a halftime show. But appreciate you guys listening and sticking around for this one. I hope I did it justice, and I hope it helped. I hope it helped you. And please let me know if it did or it did not, or if you have questions or want to just continue this conversation. Please comment or hit me up on Instagram at Quarter Life Clarity, QTR Life Clarity. Appreciate you guys. Till next time.